I almost did. This is a T-shirt from last week's guest, a guy called Glenn Azar, who's just this kind. He's ex-SAS and
right, okay.
Now does these amazing adventures around. He's like climbed Everest 30 times.
Really?
And, yeah, one of those blokes.
I don't get that. It sounds nuts.
Phone off.
Phone is off. Well,
I'm going to give you a bit
it's
of
on
that.
silent.
Sweet.
It's also on Do Not Disturb, mate.
Happy with mics?
We're all good.
Mike?
Yeah, just yours up just a little bit.
1 2 1 2.
Yep, that's good.
Ripper. About 30 minutes.
Sure.
My audience are small business owners. They're you
Yes.
10 years ago.
Yes.
You with me?
Yep. No, I'm
So
with you.
we can have a laugh along the way and a bit of a learn along the way. That's kind of
Sounds
how I
good.
look at it.
Sounds good.
So Kate, welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show.
Cheers, Tim.
Cheers. Ka-ching. Hey, now I'm a bloke. I don't get makeup, right?
Sure.
But it's pretty important, isn't it?
It's a thing, you know. I think until you got your lippy on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, and a rather large industry. What would the industry be worth in Australia?
In Australia, prestige cosmetics is worth about 1.6 billion.
Ah, prestige. What
Yes.
about non-prestige?
So then there's, if you add also,
Did you say how many billion?
1.6 billion.
1.6 billion, yeah.
So that's just for the premium high-end brands, and then if you also add all of the, you know, the mass and supermarket
crap.
brands as well.
Go and say it.
No, it's
No,
not
no, no.
crap.
It's all good.
No, it's budget options, budget-friendly
Yeah,
options.
there you go. Love it.
And then I think it's what, around 4 billion.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's
Wow.
a lot of makeup.
How much of that have you got your paws on?
Oh, you know, we got our paws on.
Yeah, how much?
Yeah, we're doing all right.
Yeah. 0.01%, it'd be good.
Well, that's the thing. There's always good opportunity in this market.
Kate, I'm going to ask you about your numbers later on, so
Oh,
you're
you
going to have to do better than that.
No, that's
So,
all right.
1999.
Yeah.
You're 21.
Yeah.
The internet's kind of not a thing.
Well, it's
This
just
is
starting.
starting.
To be a thing. Yeah.
No social media.
No smartphones, no broadband.
You got no. You're doing law. You're working at the Clarins counter in a department store.
Correct.
No network, no money.
No.
Kind of. What did you know or see that others didn't?
Look, people ask me that a lot. I think what I saw at the time was that, you know, because I was working in the department store counters, and that was really what I loved. You know, it was just so much fun. Even though I had to wear, you know, this stupid outfit.
It's not a bad outfit, the Clarins, from memory.
It
White
used
and
to
a
be
red
pretty-
shoe.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad
okay.
back then, anyway. But I loved makeup. That was the thing that, you know, for me was a really feel-good purchase. But a lot of the women that I talked to, like particularly when I explained what I did for my part-time job, a lot of them would kind of pull this face and say, "Oh God, I hate going in there. It's the worst."
Huh.
You know, there's people trying to jump on you and spray perfume on you and upsell you things, and you know, then you get home and realise you bought all these things you didn't want, and I hate going in there. And I thought, well, that doesn't make any sense. You know, it's a product that's supposed to make you feel brilliant, and the shopping experience is making people feel the opposite. And to me, that just didn't make any sense. And I thought, well, obviously someone's going to do beauty online here in Australia. And I kind of sat around for about 6 months waiting for somebody else to do it. And it honestly never occurred to me that I was going to start a business myself. You know, my parents are social workers. You know, I was going to go to uni, I was going to study hard, and I was going to get a good job. And my boyfriend at the time actually said to me, "Look, are you just going to keep talking about this or what?" I thought, oh, yeah, rightio. Well, you know, no, I don't have any, you know, money or connections or anything like that, but someone has to do it, and why not me?
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that boyfriend now your husband? Was he?
He is.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes, well, we're not married, but yes.
Okay. Really, at 21, did you really have the smarts? You're studying law, so you know Dumbo. But did you have the smarts to really sit back and go, no one is enjoying the experience of buying makeup, even in a big department store? Or
Look, I don't know whether I really, you know, sort of enunciated it in those terms, you know, and not in the way that people do now. They're like, hey, this is a market ripe for disruption. Nobody was saying the word disruption in 1999, I can assure you. But to me, it's just, well, it seemed obvious that people would want to buy beauty online because, A, you'd be able to get all the brands you wanted wherever you lived. And I'm from Tassie originally, and, you know, you couldn't get anything.
nothing.
It's kind of a depressing, you know, situation on the shopping front in
Hello to all you
Tasmania.
Taswegians.
Hello, Taswegians. This is for you. And so, yeah, I mean, to me it was an absolute no-brainer that beauty online was going to be a thing at some point, and I thought, well, if someone's going to do it, then why not me? As you think when you're 21.
So you go through the process of, I can imagine, getting a website back then's hard. There's no Shopify. You know, you do all that kind of stuff.
Bespoke, yeah.
Yeah, bespoke, totally.
Yeah.
From scratch.
From scratch, and when I say scratch, as in like pretty much the equivalent of stone tablet scratch.
Chiseling out a website.
That was it.
Unreal, but what a great way to cut your teeth, right? Because would I be right in saying that, you know, the easiest way to start an e-commerce site today, well, eBay or Etsy,
yeah.
or go to Shopify and build something not bespoke at all.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn as much.
Well, no, I mean, I guess I was kind of forced into learning a bit of coding, kind of against my will, but at least now I know how things work, and I know from a technical standpoint if somebody's trying it on, and
right.
You do get a bit of that when you run a beauty business. People assume you're an idiot on that front. Or they try and talk to my partner when things get a bit technical.
Right. Go to the man, do they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
The assumed code monkey is male.
Yeah.
Hey, so you build this thing, Adore Beauty is launched. Was there a moment when you've looked at partner, what's his name?
James.
Have you looked at James and you've gone, I think we're onto something?
Look, I don't know that there was ever that moment. It was a very, very slow and gradual thing, and I think certainly there wasn't acceptance from the beauty industry. You know, approaching brands at that point and saying the future of beauty is online, they all said no, thank you very much. Don't let the door hit you on the way
because
out.
you don't have your own brand. You are basically a drop shipper.
We're a reseller, yes.
A reseller.
So we're a retailer, and so because cosmetics is a very brand-oriented thing.
Massive.
And so you have to have the brands that your customers are looking for. That's really what it's all about. But yes, there wasn't a lot of acceptance at first, but some of my first customers were actually from the US, because they'd adopted online shopping much quicker over there, and we had a couple of really obscure Australian brands that they were like, oh, what's this? Yeah, go on. And the dollar was at 52 cents back then, so we got a few early adopters over there, and they loved it, and I guess that kind of encouraged me a little bit, and as we started to get some customers in Australia, the response was really great from consumers that were sort of going, hey, look, if you could get brands X, Y, and Z, this would be fantastic. I'd never have to go into a department store again. Please, can you get these brands?
Wow, they hated it that much.
Oh, a lot of people really do.
What is it? Let's talk department stores then, because do they get it?
Look, you know, I don't like to slag anybody off. I just
no one is listening, Kate. It's you and I. What do you think of department stores?
Look, I think that traditional way of shopping probably suits some customers, and the way that, when I was a teenager, the way that you learned about beauty was to go into a department store and be sat down at a counter and receive education as if you were a student or a patient, and you know, and this was the way it was done, and you then bought everything from that same brand, and you were then a customer of that brand, and that's how you'd go on, presumably for the rest of your life. But you know, customers, they don't shop that way anymore.
No.
They're not interested in being spoken to that way anymore. They don't want to be a student or a patient. They don't want to be given permission to buy something. You know, yes, you can have this, no, you can't. And I think that model of doing things, that single brand model, puts a lot of friction in between customers being able to cherry pick the very best products for them, because no one brand's going to have all the perfect products for you. You know, you might like a moisturiser from this brand and a mascara from that brand.
Can't find them. I mix and match.
I know. So you change your lipstick with your foundation. That's totally okay. But I think, yes, the beauty industry has been very much trying to funnel customers down one particular route, and what we're all about is saying,
giving them options.
We're going to give you all the options, and instead of forcing you to buy one particular brand and doing our marketing in that way, then it's much more about creating content that's educational and that is actually going to help you work out whether or not this product
Hold
is
that thought, because I know you're a content making machine, or Adore Beauty is a content making machine. Just on brand, because you know, you've come from a beauty background. Beauty, the industry knows branding like no other industry, because you're selling hope.
Yeah.
You are selling the dream.
Yeah.
A brand is an emotional attachment.
Yeah.
What do you know about branding, and how have you brought it in to build Adore Beauty?
It's interesting. We've kind of had to almost be, to keep our brand quite vanilla and neutral and in the background, and because we have so many strong and powerful brands in our stable. I mean, we have 170 different brands, and we have brands that are all the way from the very sort of premium and French, like like Lancôme and those sorts of brands, and then you've also got really irreverent and funky and cool brands like
so they've got
Benefit.
to do all the talking. Adore Beauty is just a platform.
Well, like we like to, I guess, keep our brand not in the background, but sort of so that it sits comfortably alongside any of those other brands, because I don't want our brand to be so irreverent and over the top that it means that it jars. It's important for me that our customers feel confident to buy whatever particular cosmetic brand floats their boat or appeals to them. Some people do like
that's really
very
interesting
premium and heavy glass jar type moisturisers, and we need Adore Beauty to be a suitable place where they can go and buy that. I mean, fashion is very different. Fashion, you have to speak directly to a tribe, I think, and if you don't do that, you tend to sort of alienate everybody. But there are a lot of fashion stores that I could walk into, for instance, and I'm 39, and you can say, right, well, it's clearly telling me that this store is not for me.
I don't belong here.
I do not belong here. This is not for you. And I guess with Adore Beauty, we serve customers anywhere from 18 to 70. We need to be very welcoming.
That sounds like a really difficult brand challenge, to stand for something but not stand for something to the point that you are going to be noticed above the brands that you represent.
That's it. So I guess we try and position Adore Beauty as being your really beauty knowledgeable best friend. The sort of person that, Adore Beauty is the sort of person where you'd say, right, I don't know what moisturiser to get, but Adore Beauty will know.
Okay. So you've taken an educator's role. You are that. You're sort of like the person at the Clarins counter, but you're not representing Clarins. You're representing whatever's going to work for that particular person who's walked in.
Well, I think that's what retailers really need to be doing to try and add value, is to not point customers in any one direction and say you need to go over here, but more, hey, tell me what you need today. Tell me what you're all about, and then I can totally help you with that. We have 857 different moisturisers. Guaranteed we're going to have one that's exactly right for you.
I want to talk more about customer experience and marketing, because you do a lot of that.
Sure.
But into the journey of launching Adore Beauty and growing it to something sizable, 170 brands. How many SKUs?
I haven't actually gone and done a count lately, but it would be between 13 and 14,000.
Wow. Turnover?
I don't know, run rate at the moment of around 30 million.
Nice, a year.
Yeah.
You proud?
Yeah, look, for me.
On a run rate of 30 mil?
No, it's good.
Hey?
It's good. It's really good, and it's been a big growth in the last 2 or 3 years, particularly.
Why?
I think it's been a combination of the market being ready for it. Timing is often everything, and for us to having all our ducks in a row at the right time in terms of having the brand selections that our customer wants.
Was there a moment when e-commerce became really accepted amongst the general populace? Because there's always going to be the early adopters.
Sure. Look, I think that started happening around 2008, 2009,
way back then.
But it happened when the Australian dollar hit parity with the US, which was a big problem in the cosmetics industry, because the big brand houses here in Australia were not used to having to adjust their prices downwards.
Ooh.
Like doing it.
Their margins went from 500% to
well,
450.
that's right, because they've been
Poor
sitting on the
things.
same pricing
Yeah.
since the dollar was at 52 cents, and I think they, it took a lot of jumping up and down from
Right.
the retailer's point of view, not just us, but all the department stores as well, to say, look, you can't be selling things at double the price in the US. It doesn't work. We can't. I can't make a sale on that basis. And so that was a really difficult time for us. We had a really hard time trying to get that growth. because you're competing with, you know, international retailers selling into Australia half the price.
Do they, the 170 brands that you have in store,
Yep.
Do they love you, or do they accept you as being a necessary evil?
They're all at varying stages of that.
Grow up!
Look, I think, yes,
What are the ones who hate you think? Hate's a big word.
Oh, there are some that wish things hadn't changed. That wish it, you know, that it was the old way, and because they got how to work with department stores, and they got how to do marketing on their counters, and the world being different is, you know, is challenging for a lot of people. A lot of people aren't used to change, and they don't like it very much. And I guess the concept of a world where you can't restrict customers from shopping across brands, and it just means that your products have to be better, you know, that's a big challenge for a lot of brands,
gotcha.
I think. Yeah,
Gotcha.
it's a
Particularly
little bit
brands that have
scary.
been around for a long time, and
Of
you're
course.
dealing with
Of
some.
course.
15 years in, you go and sell to the biggest supermarket chain in Australia, in Woolworths.
25% we did.
25%.
Yeah.
Happy days?
Yes.
Hey?
Yeah.
How was that little boardroom meeting?
No, look, I actually found them fantastic to work with. It was great.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
off to the races. 25%.
Wasn't quite like that. No, it was an investment to try and grow the business.
Right.
And yes, definitely achieved.
They
that.
approach you, or you approach them?
No, we sort of met through mutual acquaintances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just started chatting, and it sort of seemed like a sensible idea.
So off to the races, sort of, you know, bit of dough to grow the business, but shortly thereafter you buy it back.
2 years later, yes.
2 years later?
Yes.
Did an Ellen Bond, Kerry Packer type thing. Hey? Sell high, buy low.
It certainly wasn't in what we'd originally planned. But look, I guess, I think our sort of paths had diverged somewhat in those 2 years, and, you know, there'd been a lot of changes, and we just thought, oh, look, this was probably really good alignment at the time that we did the original deal, and then 2 years later it was perhaps less so, and it didn't make as much sense, and we thought, right, well,
A couple of difficult conversations later.
no,
It was all cool?
It wasn't difficult. No, it was fine. It was
It's not me, it's you.
what
It's
would
you,
Gwyn-
it's me.
Well, that's what would Gwyneth say. What did she call it? Oh, I've lost it now.
Who's this?
Someone, Gwyneth.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yes. You know, when she split with Chris Martin, that's going to come to me after this thing. What
Conscious
did she say?
uncoupling.
That's the one.
A conscious uncoupling.
uncoupling.
I love it.
Yes, that was
Goodness me.
that was pretty much it.
Do you know, past guest has sold product to Gwyneth Paltrow. Aprons, actually. So
Oh,
that's
yes.
the second time she's been mentioned
Oh, well, there
in
you go.
360 episodes. I must get her in.
Well, that's right. Well, she's quite the entrepreneur herself.
She
She's
is.
a marketing queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I will get her in.
Yeah.
Little trip to New York. And,
Go on.
hey?
Send her an email.
Hey, listeners, I'm talking to Kate Morris, who is the founder of Adore Beauty. Would I say the largest online beauty retailer in Australia?
You can definitely say that.
Well done. Now, Kate, I know that you love challenging the conventions of your industry, empowering customers, and because one of the things you don't get to see your customers. So how
Not face to face.
Not face to face. But how are you challenging these conventions, and how are you developing an emotional attachment to them?
Look, I think it's all about really getting tuned into what they're all excited about, and nowadays the beauty consumer, like particularly you millennials, you know, they're so, I mean, they're the ones that are bringing us the trends, honestly. If any,
Don't get me started. I own 3 of them.
well, they're fantastic because they're so, you know, they're so involved in kind of directing the conversation, and I guess from our perspective, we don't see it as, you know, we're, you know, delivering, you know, that we're kind of delivering edicts to them or telling them what they should buy. I mean, they're telling us, you know, they're telling us what they want to buy.
By buying.
Well, buy what they buy, by actually emailing us and telling us, or, you know, social media obviously is massive. So yes, every Instagram post that we do will have half a dozen people jumping on it and saying, hey, you know, why haven't you got this product in yet, and when are you getting such?
You
and
owe
such?
me.
And, well, that's right. And as a retailer, you know, I think a lot of retailers have lost that sight of the fact that, you know what, the customer does own you. And
Do
you
they?
know, well, I think so. I mean,
It's an interesting
if
question.
you're doing it right.
Well, it's the $64 million question. Is the customer right? Or I had Gelato Messino, the owner of Declan Lee of Gelato Messino, in a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. His whole thing, one core value that runs the whole business is honesty, right? Yes. And you go, oh, that's a bit of a wank. I've heard core values when one, and come on, get over it. Yeah. But it plays out in many ways. But one of them is that he gives his staff permission to be incredibly honest with customers. Yes. And if a customer comes in and is a dick in store, the staff member can go, "You're being a dick in store. Can you please not? Can you please whatever?"
Oh, 100%. Oh, look, I'm not of the school that the customer is always right and everything the customer wants you must give them. I mean, obviously.
So, what school are you from?
I'm from the school that if you're a retailer and you're not making every single decision based on will this or will this not deliver extra value to my consumer, then you are making decisions the wrong way.
Beautiful.
It's not about. Yeah, I mean, look, and I think there are a lot of American companies, like Zappos or whatever, they've got that whole customer service philosophy where if you phone their customer service line and want a pizza, that they will help you with that. And
they will. They might buy
it for you. If you phone my
you.
customer service line, they'll say, "I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. Was there any beauty related things that that you need? Because this is what we specialise in. We're not here to be your personal concierge. We are here to be your beauty best friend, and that's what we do." So it's having a clear idea of what you do, but then from then on, listening to your customers properly, listening properly, even if it's things you don't want to hear. I think, there are a lot of businesses that don't, that maybe don't ask for customer opinion as much as they should.
Well, past guest, and in fact wrote the forward to my book, Jay Bayer, says, hug your haters.
Absolutely.
He's written a whole book on it.
Yes.
And you can't learn, you kind of learn from people who go, love your work, because you're onto something. Yes. You can really learn from someone who says, don't really love your work, because you could do this better.
Yes.
And then you go, thank you. So how do you, I get it, what you just said, totally agree. Yeah. Everyone listening probably agrees, but how do you actually listen? Yeah. And how do you know what to listen to and what to put aside?
Oh, sure. So every single customer that orders from us the first time receives a little welcome pack in their order, which has a letter from me that explains what we're all about and invites them to, come and share their experiences with us on our social channels. So they're given a whole bunch of sort of listening ears right there and say, hey, come and talk to us about how your order was. Take a picture, an Adore Beauty Hall picture of your first order. Nice. We want to see how it all was. And then you get your second order, you get another email from me saying, hey, thank you so much for coming back again. That's brilliant. Answer just 3 questions about your order for us, or about your experience with us so far. What did you like? How do you think we could do things better? Are there any products you wish we had that we don't have? And the responses to that survey, it's not like we sort of collate them and look at them every 6 months and get a report out. They're actually fed in real time into our Slack channels. So Slack is like a company sort of messaging, if you imagine like sort of Skype chat, but internally. And so they're all fed directly into the organisation. So the ones with the brand request, for instance, gets fed and alerted straight to our buying team. So they know always.
Wow.
What
real time.
Real time.
You know that second email that goes out after the second purchase? Mm-hmm. Can they hit reply?
Yeah.
Oh, that excites me.
Yeah. Oh, I hate no reply emails. I think that is so offensive.
Offensive.
It's like, you can email me and I can't talk back to it? How rude.
Yeah, no reply in capital letters.
It's the worst. It's the actual worst. I think there's no excuse for it.
I'm loving Adore Beauty. You seem to have a little hand on the pulse of the customer. You're constantly testing and feeling how they're feeling.
Yes, I think that's why we've been able to actually survive for this long with all of the evolution. I mean, to start from the days of dial-up and no smartphones and no social, and evolve to where we are now and continue to be the biggest. I mean, the idea that we're doing better online than these much more entrenched department store behemoths. I mean, It's obscene. We shouldn't be able to do
it. It is obscene. It's weird, isn't it? Because they have got so much more influence, so much more money, so much more resources.
So much more power, and what do we have? Nothing.
And yet they're struggling. I don't know. I always want to get... the premise of a guest here is that I get small business owners on, but I think I may need to start getting big business owners on, and instead of saying, what are you doing right, like, how can you not get it so right? How can you get it so wrong?
Yes. But I think the way that we've been able to do that is to be willing to try new things all the time, particularly from a marketing point of view.
Okay.
We don't have the budgets to be doing, glossy magazine ads or TVCs. I mean, we can't afford to do it. So we have to just try and invent other stuff.
$30 million turnover, Kate. I mean, come on, you can run the odd ad. Hey?
Oh, you know what? We tried it one time.
Didn't work? How many times have I heard that?
Ridiculous. Tell
me about trying new things. Do you really is that part of your culture, which is...
Definitely.
Yeah?
Definitely.
Give me an example.
Yes. Well, one of our core values is that we have No. Stay awake. Stay with me. Is that we have the courage to fail. So we figure that if we're not failing a lot, then we probably aren't trying enough new things. And it's really, for me, about trying to set up a culture where nobody gets in trouble for trying something that doesn't work out. And so the way that we approach everything is like, okay, well, we're making an experiment. How are we going to test it? And sometimes that means that you have to think a bit harder. You can't just jump straight into doing something and say, right, we're going to change the entire website, or because we think it will be better. Because you know what, sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes you're wrong.
Sure.
And we've learnt that.
was there a moment? You got to tell me, was there a moment where you've just looked at a staff member and go, look, I know I say there's no such thing as getting it wrong, but did you really do that?
The only time I will ever care about you getting it wrong is if you spent too much money or it took too long. Or you did it and you didn't have any way to measure whether or not it worked. That's the only time I'll ever have a problem with it.
Yeah.
If you've done it in a way that is the cheapest you can think of and the quickest you can think of, and you've been able to measure the results and you can tell me whether or not it worked, all good. Go nuts, go for your life. Fairly
good criteria.
Well, I think so.
I was at a friend's house the other day. Her daughter got the old knock on the door, post had arrived. It's actually not the postman anymore. It's like DHL or whoever.
Yeah.
Box, unwraps it. It's a whole lot of beauty stuff. Actually, at that point, didn't know I was going to be interviewing you. Can't remember whether it was a door or not.
I hope so.
But her daughter, she's 16 years old. She sat at that kitchen counter. It was just a magical moment for her and for me, the marketing guy, just kind of watching from a distance, trying not to be weird, staring at this 16-year-old girl. But she just unwrapped everything to within an inch of its life slowly, and looked at each thing and felt each thing and even smelt the box.
Isn't that fantastic? See, that's how beauty is supposed to make you feel. You should be able to open that purchase with the excitement of a kid on Christmas morning. That's how it's supposed to be. And so the idea that anybody found it, intimidating or unpleasant was just, to me, offensive.
How do you make that? What do you do to encourage that experience when something gets delivered?
Look, I think there's actually a lot of great opportunities to do that in unboxing. And
it is a thing, isn't it?
Oh yes. Unboxing videos.
Videos.
I mean,
God.
YouTube is just full of them. So, look, you've got a lot of opportunities there. I mean, we do a lot of value adding in terms of giving customers opportunities to try things. So every order gets 2 free samples in the box, and we also frequently have, every week we will have sort of the little deluxe trial product of the week. So if you spend over a certain amount, you get to redeem a code and get that. So you get like another little thing to try, and then we'll quite regularly have our famous goodie bags, which is where you'll get like a little multi-brand show bag, usually sort of 6 little minis, and it comes in a really gorgeous Adore Beauty travel case, and there'll usually be 3 that you can choose from, and it's a great way for our customers to actually experiment with brands that maybe they never would have tried otherwise. So it's all those little things that you can do to just kind of, insert that little squeeze.
That's it. That's exactly what it was. As you describe that experience, I'm thinking you don't have to be an online beauty retailer to deliver that kind of value and that excitement.
Oh, no.
I just wonder why we don't go to the vet or visit our accountant or go to other places and have other experiences like that.
Yeah. I think that is a shame. I think there are a few retailers that are doing a really good job of that. Nespresso, for instance, one I really like. I love that, because. Amazing. And to me, that's a really good example of bricks and mortar retail where they've recognised what the opportunity is for creating an experience.
Yep.
I mean, in my opinion, if you're doing bricks and mortar retail, it's got to be better than online because it can't be more convenient.
Sure.
So it's not just about actually having stuff on a shelf that people can go in and purchase. It's about how are you going to create an experience for them? How are you going to give them something that they can't possibly get online? So yes, when you go into the Nespresso store and there's your poster of George Clooney and everybody's dressed immaculately, and they've got their little coffee bar, and even after you've bought the coffee, they'll still say, "Can we make you a coffee today, ma'am?" And it's like, oh,
why not?
All right, go
why
on.
Not?
And I think that's fantastic.
There's a lot we could learn from, I think, both you, what you're doing, and what companies like Nespresso are doing, because it's all about experience.
Yes.
You had a bricks and mortar store from 2004 to 2011.
Correct.
Closed.
Yes.
Why?
Look, at the time in 2004, it was still incredibly difficult for us to get brands on board, for them to get their heads around the idea that a business could be online and that wasn't weird or dodgy. And so some of them would be like, we'd be okay to be on your website, but you have to have a store. And so we went, okay, fine.
Did it for
fine.
Okay.
So it was very, very small. It was about 25 square metres in North Carlton.
Okay.
On Nicholson Street. And so it was really just to kind of...
So it was to appease the supplier more than it was to...
That was it.
Wrong thing, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, how it made any difference to any of our customers that were shopping from, Tasmania or Canberra or Queensland or whatever, it made no difference at all. Nevertheless, it just made things a bit easier for a while, and so...
I had the girls on from Spell and the Gypsy Collective, which is the Byron Bay fashion label. Mm-hmm. They're doing $20 million, I'm going to say a year. Can't be a month. They're big, they're big, right?
Yeah.
Not as big as you, but they've got an outlet in Byron.
Yes.
And that's become a flagship. It's become a destination.
Sure.
People come from overseas to visit their store.
Yes.
If you were to do it again, would you create more of a kind of destination flagship experience?
Yes, I think so, if we were to do that.
Would you?
I don't know, maybe. I think again, there'd have to be, with 170 different brands, it would be very difficult for us to actually get, that would be a huge footprint to have every single one of them on display. Maybe you don't
have to.
Well, maybe you don't have to, I don't know. Maybe if we did it, it would be more like a discovery centre or something like that.
Nice.
I don't know. But for me, it was still, it's a very crowded market in terms of bricks and mortar at the moment.
And expensive.
And I guess I'd have to see a pretty compelling reason for doing it.
Let's talk marketing. I think we have been. But in terms of, you do a lot of content marketing. I like to think I call it helpful marketing.
Yes.
What's the best marketing that you do?
Look, we have our beauty blog, which is called Beauty IQ, which I guess represents, this is the way that you can get smarter about beauty, make better decisions and enjoy it more, therefore. And so we have a full-time blogger who all she does is write posts.
What a lovely luxury.
Oh yeah, it's a great job. And photographers as well, and makeup artists, and so just about every day we're shooting. And it's not always, one of the things that we've discovered that customers love the most is just swatches in the sense of, for instance, if we get a new matte liquid lipstick in and it comes in 12 different shades, we grab Ezra out from the warehouse, she has these fantastic lips, and so all we'll do is just apply every single lipstick and photograph so that people can see, here is how this lipstick actually looks on a real person. And people find that so helpful. It's so helpful. It's something that you also can't really get if you walk into a department store. No one's going to stand there with, all of the lipsticks on arrayed in front of you. You've got the testers and you can try them on your hand, but it's to actually see, here's what this looks like on the lips, hugely successful.
Ezra, eh?
Yeah.
Good
Yes,
lips.
she does.
The Mick Jagger of Adore Beauty.
She is.
So, love it. You've used the word helpful. So is everything that you do from a content creation point of view about solving a problem that your customers have, about making them more informed?
Yes, that's right. So we approach it a few different ways, and it kind of depends on what the product is. I mean, if it's, you know, a lipstick, you just kind of need to see, okay, well, how do you apply it and how does it look on? But for instance, with skincare, we do quite a lot of education around different ingredients and what they do and what they'll be called if you're looking, you know, in a formulation. Yeah, it just kind of depends. I mean, it might be things like comparing two different hair straighteners. So the two big hair straightener brands that we sell a huge amount of are GHD and Cloud9. And so we've got a few posts comparing, okay, well, what's the difference between GHDs and Cloud9s and which one should you get depending on what type of hair you have or what type of looks you want to be able to do. You know, should you buy the short one? Should you buy the regular size? Should you buy the wide one? Or, you know, and then also too, to actually show people, okay, well, if you want to get waves with it, how do you do that? You know, there's a little tutorial video, all this kind of stuff.
How do you measure all this?
How do we measure
Yeah.
it? Oh, well, the good thing about online is that, you know, you've got as much analytics as you like.
Well, you have, but you've written a blog post that says, here are the 12 different colours and comparing the swatches of the new lipstick.
Yes.
Do you look for comments? Do you look for website traffic? Is there a call to action? Is there a buy button at the end where you can buy that lipstick?
Yeah, absolutely. So we look at all those things. So we look at traffic, we look at where the traffic is coming from, and so we can drive traffic to those posts in particular different ways. So you might do it off of Facebook or Instagram or Outbrain or, you know, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do it. Driving it through our own email newsletter list. And then, of course, you look at conversions. So
email newsletter. So social media is big for you. I've looked at your different platforms. Insta seems to be the big one for you, which is kind of no surprise.
Yep.
Seems to be where you've got the most engagement and traction. Email marketing.
Yep.
You've got a big list.
Yes.
Send a link out to this interview if you want to. No pressure. but okay. No. But are you using that effectively? Like, you're using that on a weekly basis, or?
Oh, yes, yeah, email still works really well for us.
There you go, millennials. I wouldn't have thought so.
Well,
my kids go email.
We don't just have millennials. I mean, yes, we do have millennials, but we also have plenty of, you know, women my age and older who still do use email and are quite happy. You know, they maybe don't have time to sit and spend hours on Instagram, but if you can deliver them a whole bunch of interesting beauty tips every week, then sure, why not? Fantastic. It's, you know, it might not be information that they're otherwise going and seeking out, but it's a good opportunity for them to learn a little bit more than maybe they planned.
Kate, it's been a great story. I've got a million more questions, but I think you've shared enough. It's been a good journey so far. I'm feeling like you're just at the start of something, a next big step. Yeah,
it kind of feels like that sometimes. I'm not
if
sure
I had you back here in 5 years' time, what are you going to? You got the Adore Beauty department store, or what do you got?
I don't know what we have.
Really?
I know that
Too far away?
It's, look, honestly, we don't project out much more than a couple of years. I mean, you can have a plan in terms of when we plan forward, we think more about what do we want to be in the lives of our consumers, and if we can be that daily beauty best friend, however we're delivering that over what channels, then that's I think something to work towards.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.
Love it. Thank you.
Pleasure.
It was a great story.
Good.
Had all these questions about Google and things, but I couldn't go there, you know. Like, I think we covered it.
Finish up here.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See ya.